Hello, my name is Bonsi Lopez. I am a first-year student at the University of South Florida, Tampa campus. I have lived here in Tampa for years, went to school here, I drive around here, I shop here, I eat, I breathe, I live here. Tampa is a coastal city near the Gulf of Mexico with a lot of natural wetlands and marshes. Peninsula inside another peninsula on the west coast of Florida. It's a bit funny. The total area of Tampa is about 175 square miles, with 113 square miles being land and 62 being water. This creates a lot of opportunity for ecotourism, which we will touch on later. Over the past 40 years, the population of Tampa, Florida and Hillsborough County has quadrupled. That means more men, women, children, teens, and babies. More homes are being built with an extra amount of square footage that could be considered unnecessary in suburban areas for the people that have the money to live there. However, a population growing at a rate this grand would also mean a growing population of the lower classes being pushed into smaller, more poorly maintained households with outdated insulation, water pipes, and/or electrical circuits. But where does the water and electricity come from in order to maintain these households? To put this into perspective, the state of Florida gets electricity from four main sources. 61% comes from natural gas, 23% is from coal, 12% from nuclear, and 2.3% is from renewable resources. The city of Tampa gets its electricity from TECO, also known as the Tampa Electric Company. TECO provides electricity to the entire city, that is the thousands of households, businesses, hospitals, schools, etc., etc. But TECO only uses two sources, and neither of which are renewable. 51% comes from coal, and 49% comes from natural gas. Now what difference does it make? A lot. The extraction of coal and natural gas are both extraneous processes. Fossil fuels are formed in a several million year process. Organic material is decomposed under layers of sediment that accumulate over several million years. Eventually, the layers of sediment form solid rocks where heat, pressure, and microbial activity have converted the organic material into fossil fuels like coal and natural gas. The fuels are extracted through a very rough process called hydraulic fracking, where large pipes with water are inserted deep into the soil to shift the layers of shale and rock and expose the natural gas and oil to the surface. If the city is obtaining most of its electricity through non-renewable resources like these, the environmental impact over time will increase exponentially. Possible pollution from TECO would include water runoff from the power plants contaminating drinking water and/or air pollution making the already hard-to-breathe humid air toxic. While on the topic of water, Tampa is situated in a geographically beneficial area in terms of water accessibility. 63% comes from groundwater, 36% comes from surface water, like local rivers and canals, and 1% comes from desalination, like the purification of ocean water. That 63% is contained by the vast amount of limestone Florida is composed of. Limestone is very useful for natural water filtration. However, limestone can be very brittle and break down easily. This weakness creates an enhanced vulnerability for the residents of Tampa to sinkholes, and they're quite common. I see one almost every day, but are mainly persistent in neighborhoods with houses from the 60s or 70s, like my own. Most of the water in Tampa is distributed from the city itself. However, it is also very easy for water runoff to infiltrate literally any body of water, especially the Tampa Bay estuary. All the sewage and rainwater from homes and whatnot will eventually end up in the bay. Over time, the water acidity in the bay will eventually kill off organisms and deplete the water availability for people in the surrounding areas. On a lighter note, the trash in the city is regulated through the city itself. In 2013, the city launched a program called Be Smart, Use Your Cart, where standardized garbage cans and routes were created in order to create a more efficient waste removal service. Garbage is collected twice a week, with recycling collected once a week. Officially, there is not city composting programs. However, there are many local non-profit organizations with community gardens that have its own composting program. For example, the Boys and Girls Club have both a program and a garden, along with the Metropolitan Ministries. The county cooperates with these programs to create workshops that increase public awareness of their own emissions and waste management. One of the most prominent ways the city of Tampa is eco-conscious is through our several tourist attractions centered around our wetlands and marshes. Ecotourism in Florida is quite prominent, considering the biodiversity in the city alone. There are parks like Lettuce Lake with tour guide-led hikes along the thick forestry. We have the Hillsborough River, perfect for boats and jet skiing. We have Olympus Park with open trails along marshes and more forestry. All of the parks mentioned also have on-site facilities for interacting and protecting the wildlife within the parks itself. The public transportation system provided by the city is also strongly supported by its users. The Hillsborough Area Regional Transit Authority, also known as HART, provides many services to the city of Tampa, including trolleys, buses, free emergency transportation during hurricanes, and more. HART covers about 1,000 square miles in terms of routes available to the public. HART is also currently switching from diesel-fueled vehicles to natural gas, which creates much less emissions compared to diesel. There are also scooters in place around the downtown area in Tampa, which help for tourists to navigate the city and also access transit stops more efficiently. The scooters are also in place in low-income neighborhoods to encourage the use of the transportation system the city has created and invested so much time and money in. Overall, the city has a generally okay impact on the environment the city is settled in. The waste management is fairly efficient and consistent with the residential homes and businesses it encompasses. The waste management is dependable to the general public and encourages recycling with the standardized schedules put into place that make recycling almost unavoidable. TECO may use non-renewable sources to generate electricity, but over time, this will change. The city of Tampa is a beautiful city. In comparison to the other cities in the state of Florida, Tampa has a much more diverse population. The environmental impact the city alone has is detrimental to the future of the world as we know it. It is important to care for the environment we live in order to ease in a new generation of eco-conscious, healthy, and a self-sustainable future.